Done. Redirecting to YouTube.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, right now. Okay, welcome back to the Crypto Hulk Show. This is Crypto Hulk. We got Caleb and Brown here today to answer our questions. Everybody's scared to death of what's going on in crypto. We're all confused and lost. I'm gonna let this thing gear up. Um, I see Stephen Morris here. Chris, I can never get that name right. But then we got Chris Sharpie. I know it's Sharp, but I just call him Sharpie, and then Ben. Okay, so as people are coming into the room, they are definitely here. Jim, welcome back again. We're gonna go. A lot of people are wondering what the hell's going on. I'm just letting you know. Probably a lot of people are going to know this. With all this institute, what I think we'll start off with today, if we can, is we all see how BlackRock just announced they're going to have DeFi and staking and all that for institutions, which is amazing. But we're seeing at the same time crypto prices are dumping. So after you give like your little intro and stuff, let's kind of go over what you're seeing on your end. Maybe we don't have answers, but I'll let you have the floor to start this off. Go ahead and then get into the what the hell's going on in crypto prices right now.
Yeah, perfect. Well, look, thanks for having me back on Hulk. Excited to be back for another edition, and yeah, looking forward to speaking about the markets and answering any questions you may have about Calvin Brown. Just for those that are unaware of what we do, we're obviously one of the main sponsors here with Crypto Hulk, and we provide a brokerage service for clients that want to buy, sell, and swap crypto, but want to do so in a more personalized relationship building way, and more of an institutional way of doing things than just working on an exchange where there's no real guidance, there's no real support, there's no real customized service. So that's what we do here at Calvin Brown. And I work really closely with great communities like this one. It's an interesting one. I mean, BlackRock, that's some great news. We also saw some news earlier this week on some of the larger investment banks and them admitting how much of crypto they hold on their balance sheet. We're starting to see that time and time again with the largest banks, institutions, even tech businesses around the world that are either using blockchain as part of their technology, are using stablecoins as part of their financial payment processes, or just generally holding crypto on their balance sheet. We're seeing more and more positive news come out about adoption in crypto. But unfortunately, as much as we're seeing from a positive side, from the fundamental perspective, it doesn't always reflect to positive price appreciation. And a lot of the reason for that is just the general fear and uncertainty within the market to date. So a lot of people are selling out of assets. Unfortunately, crypto is seen as a very risk-on asset compared to, say, bonds and equities and ETFs and even property. And one of the benefits of crypto, but also in periods of volatility, one of its detractors is that it's super liquid. It's so easy for all of us to sell our crypto straight away, whereas not necessarily the case for equities, which are only during trading hours and what have you. So when sparks, when quick things happen in the market, crypto is unfortunately probably one of the first asset classes to get sold off. But that's not to say we shouldn't be positive around what we're seeing from a development perspective at a government level and an institutional level. It actually emphasizes all of our conviction and our belief in our asset class moving forward. So it's not that anything's changed from a fundamental perspective. It's got more to do with the liquidity cycle and where we're currently at a broader macroeconomic level.
You know what? Ripple came out and said, um, I forgot the article exactly kind of what it said, but it was something where banks didn't really get into crypto and utilize it for liquidity because maybe some kind of terrorist or something could be providing liquidity. And as we get closer to regulations, the laws will require every single liquidity provider to be KYC'd and all these things and to be in the same network so the government can keep tabs on all the stuff. Um, there was some bank that said we would get in, was it Bank of America? I can't quite remember, but they said once we can be assured that we're not dealing with terrorists and stuff supplying liquidity and all these things, then we can kind of jump in. Do you get that feel or not, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we've seen the Genius Act. We've seen now, hopefully, the Clarity Act being passed here soon. A lot of larger institutions don't necessarily want to get involved with crypto until that legislation is enacted, until they have certainty and clarity around how can we actually use this as part of our business operations. Because as you said, and it's seen as sometimes a misconception in crypto, but certainly we've seen it in the past where a lot of a lot of terrorism funding comes through crypto because it is easier to transfer. It's sometimes really difficult to trace, or in fact, it can't be traceable through things like Zcash. So yeah, we're starting to see more institutions have greater certainty, and that's just at the US level. We'll start to see more and more of that in other governments, in Europe, in Asia as well, who will follow suit with what's happening in America, because simply they lead the way for a lot of innovation when it comes to new asset classes like crypto. I know that's certainly the case with Australia as well. So we'll start to see more and more of that. We'll start to see more of the larger tech businesses own crypto, hold it, use it as part of their daily functions, which should create further demand for what the assets that we hold, depending on the kind of utility that they provide to the market.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing over on my end, I usually, I mean, I'll tell you what, in the past 7 to 9 days, I have seen, okay, here's what we're looking at on the Crypto Hulk channel. In the past 3 to 4 days, we had the Commodities Future Trading Commission. His last name is Seelig, Selig, Michael Seelig. He
Hmm.
came out and said in the next 2 to 3 months, President Trump should have a bill on his desk to sign. Then we also had at the SEC, uh, Paul Atkins, or I think that's his name, the commissioner of the
Yep.
SEC. He said like the same thing. He was asked when is all this going to happen, and he was like, he wouldn't be surprised in the next 2 to 3 months to see across Trump's desk a bill for him to sign. And I'll tell you what, I see stuff like that. And then just like today or yesterday, I'm seeing BlackRock is launching DeFi for institutions. I'm like, oh my God. And then prices dump. And I'm just like, how? So what we're seeing in a lot of the Crypto Hulk followers that watch my program, I mean, I'm not, I mean, we're kind of a different breed. But I'm seeing all this institutional um interest coming into crypto right now. And what another thing that I'm seeing might be this real world use case. Okay, we got Swift. Swift announces that they're going to have a soft release of their ISO 20022 crypto platform that they're going to send messaging on. They're going to utilize like 8 different ISO cryptos. Let's just use that term, makes it easy for us here at least. Swift announces that in March, April, or May, they're going to soft release, the brand new 100% ISO system, and then around October, November, do like a mandatory ISO 20022 crypto. And those banks that choose not to go with it, or if they're not ready or whatever, will face like a heavy penalty in sending money. So I was kind of like, there's a lot of stuff that's been going down as far as institutional. That's about as big as it gets. But then we also have the DTCC. They're the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. Every single derivative on the planet, the stock exchange that has derivatives, they clear. So it all goes through the DTCC, and then you get your derivative or whatever. It all goes through them. That's about 4 quadrillion bucks a year that moves through that. They said they're going to do the same thing. Uh, March, April, May, they're going to do a soft release on utilizing um, the cryptos, the ISO cryptos, and about the same time, October, November, the DTCC, who's in charge of all the global kind of derivatives exchanges, they're going to do like the hard release and all this money. Like when you go to buy and sell, you're using ISO messaging. And I was like, Swift and the DTCC have about the same time frames they're going to release. That's like most all the home money in the entire world. So Crypto Hulk fans, when we watch this show, like we see what's coming We're watching the giants of the industry. It doesn't get any bigger than DTCC. We're watching, it doesn't get any bigger than BlackRock and the announcements that they make. And we're shocked over here. Um, Price, I tell these people, you know what? If you invest in good crypto, that would be like the benchmark. When you go to Caleb Brown, you want to get some crypto or whatever, watch the news that goes through this program. And if you want on your end, buy it. If you don't, then that's your choice or whatever. But at least base your crypto on real world announcements that we have on my program. And then, but what's weird is that just the price is dumped. Like there must be a lot of people not on this channel, but because we probably represent half of a percent of, or we probably don't even, it's just funny how people would sell crypto. I don't know, like you're talking about uncertainty and people get scared about things. And the first thing, I guess people don't know what they hold or they don't look at
Definitely.
fundamentals. That's what my channel is based on, straight up fundamental news. Let's look at the news. What's BlackRock doing today, everybody? Oh, damn. Da, 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 da. And then when my show's over, the people who watch my program look at this news and they're like, oh my God. But then you look at a price and it's almost like this. The more I'm shocked. The more good crypto news we see, the prices dump. And I'm like, what? So, and I know we got economic
Yeah.
problems, the budget, the we got a deficit going on and possible wars and just there's a whole lot. What are you seeing on your end over there?
Yeah, so I mean, the first element of that is you're exactly right. There's definitely not a correlation between good news and the price pulling back. They're definitely not correlated. But the thing that you have to take into account is that when people have less money to spend on crypto, when institutions don't have the same balance sheets that they maybe had 6 months ago, when a lot of large hedge funds and crypto institutions got liquidated in that massive October event, a lot of the good news in even if they objectively view it as good news, and a lot of it is, a lot of it's amazing advancements in the crypto space, they actually don't have the funds or the liquidity to spend into that. So what you'll usually find is that in bull markets, you see that positive news that comes out that genuinely moves the price is because there's people that have money on the sidelines, they have stable coins, they have funds to enter into off the back of that news. And right now, we just don't have that. Partly because of the reasons I mentioned, but partly because there is a level of uncertainty. People don't want to buy an asset class like crypto when they see it be decreased in price, like we've seen over the last couple of weeks. But you've seen the same from some of the largest shares in the market. Coinbase, as we just saw, released their earnings, probably weren't as good as what they expected. It's now down 12% today. So there's a general fear and uncertainty just in the market in general. And as I mentioned, if you're holding a whole range of different assets and you've got this thing that you can sell instantly that, look, unfortunately, not everyone is educated about us on crypto. So if you're listening to Hulk provide these interesting developments, a lot of people have bought Bitcoin or XRP because their friend has told them to, or they've heard that you can make amazing gains from it. So as soon as they start to see that it's reducing in price, which can happen with a volatile asset, they sell instantly. And that's something that we try and educate our clients on, especially the ones that come through thinking this is a quick get quick rich scheme. Sometimes it feels like that in crypto, but for a lot of people that are new to crypto, that's what they think it is. And so when they get uncertainty and they don't even know what they're holding, they don't understand what Bitcoin is, or they don't understand what H bar is and what the developments and interesting use cases are about it, they're the first ones to sell. So it's unfortunate, but usually this is what happens in a cycle like this. We have periods of uncertainty in the market, not just from, hey, a financial economic performance, but as you said, we're not sure if there'll be another war soon. Geopolitical tensions are at an all-time high with the US and a range of countries, and that puts people into fear. So there's a whole range of reasons why, yes, we're seeing all these amazing developments, but the price isn't necessarily going up. What we're seeing from our end in terms of clients, and there's quite a few that are in that level of uncertainty and just holding onto their assets. We have a lot of clients that are net buyers right now. So, they may have been buying Bitcoin, let's just use an example, around 90K, 95K. They're seeing 65K as an unbelievable buying opportunity, right? They're seeing this as a great opportunity to add to their positions, to add further than what they could have at those higher prices, because they're big believers in the asset long term. This isn't a game that they're trying to make returns on in a week. They're thinking from a really long-term time horizon. So we have a lot of larger, I would say, institutions, but more about just high net worth investors becoming net buyers. We also just have a lot of people that have a large exposure to crypto already. They're big believers in what they're holding, but they've seen the price reduce, 20%, 30% this month. So they're just holders at this point. We also have people that have sold. We have a lot of clients that bought XRP back when it was 40, 50 cents. And yes, they could have made more profits, but then they're now seeing that it's actually a good time to maybe take some profits off the table, and realize those profits. So there's a bit of a mix around what we're seeing internally. I certainly think, look, I think we can go lower. There's always a reason that we could. But I think this is an interesting level, and a lot of our clients are buying around this phase right now.
Yeah, I really think it depends on how educated. Okay, look, if I'm running an investment company, people come to me because they want to make money as fast as they can. I mean, whether fast means 6 months or a year or 8 years, whatever, that's a relative term. But if I go to BlackRock Investments and I'm like, hey, I want to get into one of your funds, I want to start seeing money right away being made. And part of the problem is the customers, a lot of them don't probably study enough about the markets and crypto. You kind of just trust your broker, your investment broker, and just because that's what we're so early. I try to tell people we're so early. Like, now's not the time to be selling off your crypto to make money. It's like we haven't even taken off. Like, banks are not like, what is crypto designed for? It goes back to basics. Like, people that don't understand the basics of crypto, what is it designed for? To make the world move faster, to make information travel, to store. Let's say if you have property, you can put property on a blockchain in these little poor countries all around the world. You can get the geospatial location of your exact property, northwest. You have all the exact degrees and stuff, and you can put that on a blockchain. Because in these other countries, there could be corruption where somebody steals your farmland or they bribe a congressperson. But blockchain has so many use cases that we haven't even taken off. And part of the problem is that people don't understand what they think crypto might be a get rich quick scheme, but it's like it does. There's crypto for logistics, tracking things, like controlling the land, all kind of payments, cryptos, utility tokens, all kinds of use cases for crypto. And I think part of the problem is, this is just my opinion, but a lot of people that are in crypto don't understand what they're in. And they're just
Yeah.
looking at it strictly from an investment point. They don't want to know what it is. Da 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 da. The price starts dumping. Okay, sell it. But on Crypto Hulk channel, it's like my shows are about an hour twice a day. So these people, a lot of them watch the show both times, but there's a lot of information. These people know a lot that are on my channel. And what we don't do is, okay, when a year ago, 8 months ago, we pump dump stuff. Okay, well, now we're moving in to real world adoption. All the speculators are gone. A lot of them are gone. They got wiped out. The prices of Bitcoin's down 50%, XRP's down, everything's down. If I kind of feel like this, anybody that's still left is a diehard. These are the people that know what is happening. I'm not selling, like, I don't care. Like, I'm looking at my portfolio numbers. I almost want to cry, but
I'm there
but
with you.
but I know, Jim, like, I study every day. Like, this channel takes me 55, 60 hours a week. So I'm always looking at news. I'm responding to somebody, answering a question. Like, this job never ends. And I see every day, I report every day to these people what's in the news. We talk about companies on my program, like on the NASDAQ that are involved, like Seals Q, the company, their parent company, WiseKey. We talk about Vivo Power. These are stocks that Vivo Power has like the biggest XRP treasury in the entire world, or that's their goal, is to build the biggest one right now. Um, You've got Tharimmune. Tharimmune is a biotech company, and that's getting involved with Canton because they want to be the biggest super validator. So they spent $545 million to be a super validator on the Canton network. And I'm just like seeing all this crypto companies, not just stocks. So the people on my channel, we have stock options where sometimes I'll talk about what is Tharimmune doing with Canton. It's a biotech company, it has nothing to do with crypto, but they see the value. They must know something because they're dropping 545 million bucks because they want to be a super validator on the Canton network. And people are like, oh, damn, I want to buy Tharimmune. But we talk about companies, we talk about which will be stocks, I guess you could call them, and then we talk about crypto, gold, silver. So we're kind of diversified on my program. And let's get to some questions. Let me take a look here and back it up. Can we stay? Here's Ben, 1973, right from the beginning here. Can we still send root to Caleb and Brown to hold?
I think Root we had to delist. You may be able to still hold it. I'll need to double check on that one, but I know Root was one that we used to list, and for liquidity reasons, and simply because we didn't have a lot of clients that were holding it. I think we've delisted it now. So unfortunately, I don't think so. You may be able to hold it with us, but I don't think you can buy it through us.
Right, right. I think what he was asking is I've gotten people I have members that I call up on the phone or they call me or they text me, and a lot of them are wanting to get the Crypto Hawk law firm and put their crypto in Caleb and Brown under the LLC. So I think he's asking, can we still send root? So if they're already a Caleb, so Ben, I don't know if you're already a member of Caleb Brown, but if you're already a member of Caleb Brown, like well, let's say with me, if I had root on my MetaMask, could I send that to my Caleb Brown or no?
Yeah, you can. I just had a quick look then. So you can hold it with us, but it's sell only through us. So you can't buy any more root. But if you wanted
Okay.
to hold it with Caleb and Brown, we allow for that. But it's been moved to sell only just because there's been pretty dwindling liquidity for it. So
Yeah.
yes, you can move it to Caleb and Brown into your Caleb and Brown account, but
Okay.
you won't be able to buy any more through us. You can just sell it off through us.
Okay, that's good. Let me look here. Coasty 88. Jim, nice to see you. Change my profile name. It's Mark. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Mark.
A lot of people they like yeah, I mean I talk to a lot of people now because I picked up a new income stream and I have like 3 month memberships and stuff where they can call me and text me and we talk about the crypto. You got to have the custody protection of Fireblocks. I have to explain to some of them about like a hardware wallet and a phone wallet and how how much protection that gives you. And then we talk about the Caleb and Brown Fireblocks partnership that they have. And then I'm like, look, let's talk about that one a little bit. I had a guy earlier, I called him earlier. He's got a membership with me for 3 months and $1.5 million in crypto. I mean, not a crazy amount. I mean, it's more than I could ever, but he's got a
More
million
than
and a
me as
half
well.
yeah. And I'm saying, okay. And he doesn't have, he has a very tiny bit with Kalen Brown. And I'm like, hey, we need to have a talk. And
Hmm.
he didn't fully understand. He's kind of like not good with transferring crap and he doesn't. And I'm like, look, man, if something bad were to happen, if your stuff's in the Kalen Brown Fireblocks protection, solution, then it's like, dude, you're covered, man. It's like bulletproof. Like you got the top banks in the world. I said, why doesn't Wells Fargo just go buy a ledger and then buy a bunch of fucking ledgers and shit? Like they don't do that, man. They got the fire
Hmm.
blocks. Every article I go over, I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's fire blocks. And there's also another big one out of 10 article. It's Anchorage Digital or something, maybe, or I don't know. But these articles I'm reading, 9 times out of 10, fire blocks, fire blocks, fire blocks. And I was telling him this. I'm like, dude, you need to get a lot of that crypto. Like, if something were to happen or whatever, like the reason I said you need to put your stuff, we broke down about sharding and I had to explain to him how the keys are in different places. I broke down all that stuff. And I said the top institutions in the world, they're not using your little hardware ledger. I'm not putting, I mean, I have one. I told him I got like 25% of my stuff in there, but I realized that could get wiped out. And I'm like, I just want you to be aware you've got 1.5 million bucks in crypto. And I don't know how much he's got at Kalen Brown, like 100, 200,000. I'm like, dude, that's like not, I'm like, this is my opinion, but it's like, because I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just like, you need to seriously. So he's going to consider it and put, 75% in there. I said, just call your broker if you don't, just, he'll walk you through it, man. Because
Yeah.
just you're going to be in a bad shape if you lose like $1 million, 1.2 million bucks or whatever you got. I mean, dude, that's like a lot. And he's like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think yeah, sorry, you go.
no, go ahead. I'm done with that.
I was just going to say, yeah, in this scenario, especially where you're not quite sure how to transfer or how to custody or how to protect your assets, it's really valuable to have an option like Caleb and Brown because clients that hold their assets with us sleep easy at night. We have a whole bunch of security protocols in place. Your assets are held in cold storage. They're not commingled, they're vaulted. Assets are stored on a one-for-one basis, so you can access them at any time. You essentially get the benefit of cold storage and a hardware wallet without the stress of worrying about someone robbing you for that or losing the private keys. We handle all of that for you, and we have a whole bunch of internal processes in place. So even in that scenario where that man gets hacked, someone gets access to his phone or his email, if he's holding those assets with Calvin Brown, those assets are going to be protected. We have a whole bunch of security checks in place, even to the point where we call clients and we let clients set up things like passwords and what have you to ensure that no assets are ever leaving Calvin Brown unless it's exactly that client that has requested it and it's to a verified wallet that we actually know it's coming from them and not someone that's pretending to be them. And so, look, unfortunately, scams are becoming more and more commonplace. We're getting new clients reach out to us every day saying that they've been scammed in the past 6 months and they've now decided to work with us. So, I mean, in that man's example, it's totally up to him in terms of how much he wants to hold with us versus on a hardware wallet. All I would say to anyone on the call is that if you're not quite sure how to custody safely, I would recommend moving your assets and holding with them with us. And then when you become more confident and you've used a hardware wallet and you understand the risks associated and how to protect yourself, that's no issue at all. You can always move those assets back off Calvin Brown into that hardware wallet. So we always recommend for clients to do that with what they're comfortable with. In that man's situation, Hulk, if you'd like me to have a chat with him so I can explain to him in more detail, happy to do that as well as everyone else on this call. Because look, the worst thing about this job is new clients that sign up and start speaking to brokers and talk about how much money they've already lost. It's pretty heartbreaking. And it's something that, and it is the reason why we've created this custody solution because so many of our clients need it and they want to be able to get the exposure and the upside of crypto without having to worry about the risks associated with getting hacked or scammed. So certainly something to consider for everyone that's listening on this call. And it's free. Like we don't charge custody for it. So there's no fee to custody with us. So it's a bit of a no-brainer for a lot of our clients.
Okay, somebody had a question. We've heard this one a million times. What's going on in New York with Caleb and Brown?
Yeah, so New York, we've put in an application for a bit license. New York's really the only state that we can't offer our services to in the US, and that's simply because the requirement is you need to hold a bit license, and it's easily the most onerous license requirements probably in the world. It's incredibly difficult to get. It requires a lot of documentation and business paperwork, and it can take up to 2 years to get one. So we've applied for it. We're in the process of going through and acquiring our bit license, but unfortunately, I don't have any timelines because we don't even know on when that may get approved. But look, long term, we want to be in New York. Ideally, we'd love to have even an office presence there in the future. But until they make that process a little easier and honestly more efficient, we're still going to get really long lead times like this. So for our New York residents, I know you've been very patient and we appreciate that. We want to work with you. So we are in the process of getting our licenses to legally operate there. But unfortunately, we just have to go through this lengthy process. So that's where we're at with the UK. Sorry,
Um,
with New York, not the UK.
People in New York, what I want you to do is contact the Crypto Hulk lawyer. And there's a possibility that maybe you could set up a corporation in Texas or Montana, and that corporation could buy crypto. I'd like you to talk to the Crypto Hawk lawyer about the ways that you could have a corporation buy crypto, even though you live in New York, because you wouldn't be buying it, your corporation would. But call up the Crypto Hawk lawyer. Maybe they can explain that to you. We find a good way to make something happen. Next question. We
Yeah,
talk
I
about
guess I just
it.
wanted to jump in there. Unfortunately, from our perspective, and it's purely a compliance risk. We used to allow in the back in the end, back in the day, people who lived in New York but had residents or they had entities elsewhere be able to onboard those entities. Unfortunately, New York even now deems it that if you're a director of that entity, which is what would be the case in this scenario, we can't onboard those kinds of entities as well. So again, it's very restrictive. Unfortunately, that is just the case, and it's just a shame for our New York residents. But again, hopefully we'll be able to offer our services with a bit license sooner rather than later.
Whew, wow. Um, Rise, the token RIZE. If you guys could put, I have a request. If you guys could look at it again, just see how it's doing. Um, we a lot of people would just to look into it. We're not telling you to get it, but just if it's still not good, then fine. But these people are going to keep asking me, and I'm fine. I'm not getting mad at them. It's just they're going to probably ask me every single week about Rise. So just maybe put
That's
that on your.
okay. I often get questions about Rise. We did a review, I think, back in November last year. So look, certainly I can reach out to operations team again and see if anything has changed on our end to see whether we can list it. I'll never say no to doing that. So yeah, leave it with me. I do believe that there was just not enough liquidity in the market for us to list it. And to list it to the size in which we can allow our clients to move big positions in it. So yep, let me reach out and see if there's any further update there and see if we can do something with Rise.
Okay, good. I'm just making a little note here. Okay, that's on my list. Let's see another question. Oh yeah, 1099. Jim, please explain the new 1099 that Caleb Brown is sending to United States people.
Yeah, so the 1099 form is something that has been put into effect by the Trump administration. It's a form that essentially we need to provide to the IRS now moving forward. I know we've spoken about this over the years, and in the past we didn't report to the IRS. Unfortunately, now for us to legally operate within the United States as a digital assets business, we need to provide those forms moving forward. So those forms will be provided to our clients pretty soon here. I think it'll be provided either online, or if people don't want them online, they'll be physically sent. And it'll detail out just the general nature of your holdings with Calvin Brown and your activity. Again, I want to stress that this isn't a Calvin Brown decision. I'm very much not someone that likes, interacting or working with the IRS or even the ATO here in Australia. But unfortunately, legally, we're required to do it. And it's not just us, it's every crypto digital asset business within the United States. So those forms are being sent out. It's been a bit of a rush because we've had to let clients know, and it's just kind of come out of the blue. But unfortunately, it's something that we will now have to do moving forward legally. And again, it's one of those byproducts of all the positive things that we see from the regulation and legislation space. Unfortunately, there are sometimes consequences of that, which means sort of more reporting requirements for us to the IRS. So that's what those forms are. Again, it's not something that we've decided as a business decision. It's something we legally need to do to continue operating within the US.
Posty 88, thank you very much for the tax-free donation. I think Chris Sharpie says, I think Jim should join us for a real deal Crypto Hulk live show. Well, he is. He's on the show now. I don't understand that
Yeah, I think
question.
they mean maybe in person. You and I doing one in person.
Oh,
I'm going to be spending more time in the US shortly, but hopefully sort of end of this year, next year. And
uh,
some of the ideas that we are thinking about, I mean, I haven't even spoken to Hulk about this, is potentially a live show, or even a potential event at some point with our partners.
yeah,
That's something we're thinking more and more about. I don't know
that
if
would be
Hulk would
fun.
be cool, too excited to do that. Maybe he would be.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a great way for us to connect with all of you great people in this community, and with most of you being Caleb and Brown clients, it would make a lot of sense. So look, that's something we're planning to do more and more of. We've got a very established team now within the US that are operational, and I'll be working out of that office for the next couple of weeks here pretty soon. But we want to do more and more with our clients. So do more face-to-face stuff, run more events, essentially have more of a presence within our US market, which is our largest market. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, let us know, because certainly we can look towards potentially organizing something in the future.
Um, Crypto Hulk is all about live action. No,
Love it.
I like interaction. That's why I have a live show. I don't like doing pre-recorded shows. I did a couple. I just don't like doing that. I like seeing who's on my show because it's fun to like be able to answer a question or talk to somebody or laugh about a joke or something. You know what, Jim, I think's important is before I became Crypto Hulk, I was actually in a master's of organizational leadership and getting A pluses on all my classes. I didn't graduate it. I decided not to. I wanted to kind of keep I didn't want to necessarily run a corporation. And that's kind of what I was on track to go and to get a doctoral degree. And just all my professors, out of seven of them, four of them said I need to go to doctoral school for organizational leadership, and because that's what I'm supposed to do. But I'm like, gosh, man, that's a lot of responsibility. But they said you can do it. What people want, I have a degree in English, but I almost have a double major in psychology as well. I've worked a lot with people. I was a teacher and stuff, and worked a lot in parole and probation type jobs, helping to guide people to get them out of trouble. I did a great job at that. So it kind of falls into what I do here. I help people learn about crypto, guide them, and to show them the information that I find. And but one thing I know we all want, and this is what I want Caleb Brown to kind of look at is people have a strong, they want to feel like meaning. They want to belong, you know? When people can interact with a company or it makes it more, um, gosh, I don't know how to, alive. Like, okay, I could join a Coinbase, but I would just be like a customer. There's no people want to feel connected. Like, why does somebody wear a certain t-shirt like a sports team? Because they want to be a part of a team, right? I mean, look at the sports networks. I mean, people go crazy. They go to restaurants, certain restaurants on game day, and the bars have happy hour on game day and shit. Like, people want to belong to something that's fun. They want to, especially with crypto, it's like this is our few, this is like a game, and right now we're getting our butts kicked. But it's like what encourages people is when you see other like-minded individual people pursuing a common goal, having fun, connecting, and that binds the customer and the business in the industry together. And that's a very powerful thing because people want to belong to a winning team. That's why I joined you guys. That's why I have the Crypto Hawk Lawyer. And people want to join Crypto Hawk channel because they see, damn, they got this custody solution, a legal team, like whatever. They got all kinds of lawyers at this place. And then we got me as like a researcher. I'm a pretty good researcher, I have to admit. Takes a lot of work. But people look at that and like, I want to join Crypto Hulk team channel, whatever, because I like what they have to offer there. It's a live interactive program. And I think, yeah, I would hope that Caleb Brown looks into things and puts together something that'll help build more of a community because that will create excitement and fun and interest and accountability. Um, and just, I think that would be a really cool thing because people want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, you know? And I feel a part of Caleb Brown. I feel a part of this channel. Um, I think it's part of who I am right now. I've made it like part of who I am. And when things get tough, people that are well connected, they don't budge. Just like these people watch my show, they don't budge. Bad news happens in crypto or something, they don't budge because they know they're a part of something that's bigger and they know where this road ends up. So I think that'd be a pretty cool idea. So you guys can call me sometime or ask me questions for input. I'd like to look into whatever you guys are doing. So yeah, sure, it sounds good.
Definitely, yeah. And like that's part of what the overall service is, right? We build genuine long-term relationships with our clients. Some of our clients have been with us since 2019, 2020, right? When the business was only had about 6 or 10 people in it. So look, we've that's what we've focused on over the journey. We think that it's really important to build those relationships because it means you get the best results and you work with people that are genuinely very experienced in the crypto space, along with crypto hulks. So that's something that we've emphasized, and it's the reason we've been able to grow. And it's the reason why we've been able to differentiate ourselves from the exchanges of the world, is because it isn't just an interface where you're by yourself and there's no support or assistance. With us, it's a complete white glove service. You have access to someone that's dedicated to you about helping you in your crypto journey. And that's where we've really been able to grow and flourish. So, yeah, look, we'll certainly look to do more of that in the future. And certainly, maybe we can organize some sort of crypto Hulk community event for everyone to come along to and connect in person. So, yeah, we'll see how we go with that.
I have a question. I know there's nothing, well, I haven't seen anything official, and I don't talk about anything on this program unless I talk to Caleb Brown and say, hey, do you know anything about this? Because there was a rumor going around, something about Caleb Brown is using Ripple payments. Or could you talk about that? Or is that a rumor, or you're not allowed to talk about it, or what?
Um, no, I can talk about it. We're going to do some more official confirmation on it shortly. I met with the Ripple Payments team last week, and we're very excited to be working with them. So, look, I can reveal that we are working with them, and so we've integrated Ripple Payments within our off-ramping fiat withdrawal process system. We're looking to potentially do more stuff with them in the future. We had a great chat with them the other week. But I will probably wait until we do an official announcement. Our CCO jumped the gun a little bit when it came to tweeting about it, and it got picked up in the news. But yes, the short answer is yes, we're working with them. We're very
Okay.
excited about it. We think it's the start of a really great relationship. But there'll be more official communications that come out about it in the short to medium term, and they'll provide hopefully some sort of case study that will actually show how we're using them and working with them. So yes, in short, we are. I just got to be a little careful about what I say at this stage until we make an official announcement.
Okay, so you're looking into Ripple, talking with them, and maybe something happens down the road, maybe it don't. Okay, so that's cool. It works for me. Um, let's see. Let me look here. Somebody says, John Foti, if we have to wire transfer money into Caleb account and we can't connect our bank account, if crypto goes up, how do we cash out? I am guessing transfer from Caleb Brown into a wallet. Uh,
So in that scenario, you shouldn't have any issues with your bank account. If you're an American citizen, we have banking partners all throughout the US. So if you're looking to withdraw to your bank account, there should be no issues in doing that. In fact, we very rarely have any issues with withdrawals. It's mostly if you're ever going to have an issue with your bank, it's with depositing with us. We've experienced that quite frequently in Australia where they have a lot of policies around crypto and where you can send your money. So you may have issues depositing here and there, but certainly with withdrawals, if you have a legitimate and valid bank account within the US, there will be no issues with you withdrawing to that bank account. Now, in that scenario, let's just say you're holding crypto with Calvin Brown and it goes up in price. Well, you don't need to withdraw that or transfer that elsewhere to then earn those profits. You can just sell out of that crypto into US dollars with us. So you can hold both crypto with us, and that's probably, I think we list over 250 different kinds of assets now. So, but we also hold fiat. So we have US dollars, Australian dollars, euros. So if you want to sell out of that position because you're in the profit, you can still do that with us and hold the US dollars with Caleb and Brown. And then if you're having issues with your bank or what have you, there shouldn't be any issues, but that's where you've still locked in those profits. So I hope that makes sense. But in terms of off-ramping with us, and part of that again goes back to some of the partnerships we have with also say Ripple Payments, that should be a very seamless and easy process. So please reach out to your broker if you're having issues withdrawing, but you never should have issues withdrawing to your bank account.
Okay, question here about if I already have a personal account at Caleb and Brown, can I still set up a separate entity account like from Anderson Advisor Lawyer, or do I have to add an account as an extra account to the personal? Can you explain kind of that right there?
Yeah, so the best way for me to explain it is that you have an individual account, you have a login, you have a password, you have two-factor authentication tied to that account. You can then add a second entity account to that individual account. So we don't require you to set up a completely new account with a different login, a different password, and a different two-factor authentication. So it will all fall under the same login, but they'll be completely separate accounts. So you'll be able to toggle between them. You'll see that they'll have different holdings based on which account you're looking at. They'll also have different wallet addresses. So the wallet addresses for your entity account will be different from the wallet addresses you have for your individual account. So absolutely you can set up an entity account and we have clients that have an individual account. They may have 5 LLC accounts with us and they may have a couple trust accounts as well. So you can set up multiple entity accounts as well. It can get a little confusing once you get to that amount, but yes, that's the way it's done. So it gives you that ease of use where it's all under the same login, but they're very much separate accounts within that same login, if that makes sense.
Okay. Let me look here. John Follett said they will not let me donate, said $500 per month. John, you're going to have to message me on my social media. So go to X and because I can't really answer that question here. So contact me on my social media and we'll figure something out. All right. Let me look here. I'm here in the States. The company is only in Australia. Do I need to change? Blue Moon has a question. I'm here in the States and have had a Caleb and Brown account for a few years. The company was only in Australia when I set it up. Do I need to change to the American company or does it matter?
No, it doesn't really matter. But ultimately, most of our, or in fact, all of our US clients will eventually be migrated over to the US entity, if not having already been migrated. So a lot of clients have moved to the under and shifted to our US entity, and it's got no real impact. It's not like it changes your day-to-day service with us or your dashboard or your portal experience. It's more so just how we do things internally in terms of from an operational perspective, from an accounting and auditing perspective. But certainly, if you're a US client, you will, if not already, fall under our US entity.
Senor Rojo says this is just his experience. Another good reason to go to Caleb and Brown. He says today he could not buy or sell or transfer on Coinbase. So I don't know what happened with that. Just relaying a message. So,
Yeah, there were again, I haven't looked into the
uh-oh.
authenticity of those posts, but certainly there was a warning that came out that, and again, I don't know how long it lasted for, but I think it definitely happened where people weren't able to buy, sell, or withdraw off Coinbase.
Oh.
That is quite rare and unique. I wouldn't say that happens often. And I'm certainly not here to badmouth Coinbase. If anything, out of all the exchanges, I mean, they're the one I got started on. But it does speak towards sometimes issues that these massive, large exchanges with multiple millions of clients can sometimes face. Fortunately, that's never happened with us. And again, the benefit of a brokerage is that you actually have someone that you can call and speak to, and that you have full access of your funds all the time. So I am aware that that did happen today. Again, that may have been for 5 minutes. It may have been for a couple of hours. I'm not quite sure. If it was a couple of hours, that's pretty bad. Just because if you wanted to sell out of a position or you wanted to buy into an asset and then the price has moved, you'd be
Whoa.
pretty annoyed about that. But again, I don't know enough details to know how impactful it was or whether it was in certain regions or not.
And this is why now I can pretty much talk about whatever. Well, not really, but I do on my show when Jim's not here. The reason I am with Caleb and Brown is because of just what he was saying. We got a broker, you guys. When you join some other, when you join some kind of crypto exchange or whatever, you're not assigned a broker. I am. All you guys are. We can pick up the damn phone and be like, "Hey, what the hell's going on, Andrew?" um, but you when you're a member of Coinbase or something, who you call? A robot or something? You leave a text message? Like, heck no. Caleb and Brown is here. They and you got people in America and in Australia. So you got a lot of hours now. Like if let's say normally you call you could leave your broker an email. Can somebody call me like right now, like yesterday, right now? And if they can get to you, but you can't try to do that at Coinbase or something. That ain't gonna happen. Okay. So Caleb and Brown, you're given a broker and there's different options to get a hold of them. And you got two different countries to deal with to try to get a hold of somebody. That's why I have this service on this program, not just some leaving a message at a help desk. Man, when you're pissed off or you're stressed out, you see your crypto and it's dumping and dumping, and you want to get out, you can't at these other places. That's why I have Kalen Brown. Oh, but I thought I was going to save money at some other place. You know what? Stop thinking small. Do you know why this is institutional custody? Because they're not trying to deal with people that think small. You can still have a small account, but think big. Okay. Think I want to have access to a broker because that's what the big boys have. They don't use that damn Coinbase shit where you can't get a hold of somebody, your account's locked up, so you have to send a help desk an email and they get back to you in 24 hours. By then, your crypto's done. Oh, but Crypto Hulk, I wanted to save a couple percent. Yeah, you fucked up. That's how it works. So you're not saving any money, it's costing you more. Okay, you got to look at, I run a business. Okay, I'm not trying to lock my crypto up in some kind of an exchange. I'm not mentioning names. I'm not trying to have my crypto locked up in some exchange where they just decide to shut the fuck down. What am I supposed to do? I want to put my money in a brokerage account that they don't lend it. They're not doing shit to it. It's locked up. It's mine. It's right. I'll get on the phone now. Liquidate right now. Bam. Send it to my bank. You can't do that these other places. How much is that worth? It could be worth millions. You already got custody for free, so you're not paying for that. You got a phone call away, email away. You could email them and tell them, hey, sell everything right now. Now they're going to try to get a hold of you, so you got to make sure it's during business hours of the United States or at least Australia, one of the two. But it's like, try doing anything I'm talking about at a regular exchange. So are you saving money? Well, it's negligible. It's about the same. But if something bad happens, you could lose millions. You could lose it all. So that's why I'm trying to go with this team that I have right here. I feel I can access my broker through an email any time of the day. Somebody's going to get that damn email. And if it's especially 9 to 5 or whatever it is in the United States or Australia, I'm getting a hold of somebody on the phone. Somebody, I'm either calling Australia or if there's an emergency, I'm calling one of the two. I know somebody's going to pick up that damn phone or contact me or do something. Way more. I know they can at least do way more then some exchange that you send some message to a help desk and they're going to email you back probably tomorrow when your account's drained. Something like that's probably when they get a hold of you. But okay. We are almost out of time. We got room for maybe a little bit more questions. Let me take a look. Not the app, but you can just pass the login. Oh, are you gonna have Caleb Brown on Apple and Android? What's the status on that again?
Yeah, we're currently just available for Apple App Store users. We don't offer the app at this stage to Android users. We're hoping that will change in the future, but for right now, if you're an Android user, just log into your account via browser. It works pretty seamlessly, even on the browser on your mobile. So for now, that's the best alternative, and hopefully we'll be able to offer our services to Android users via an app in the future. So yeah, that's the update there.
Okay. I think we're gonna probably call it a wrap. Um, we had a pretty good question answer there, and I think that would be about it. Any last words, Jim?
No, I was just going to say if you're new to this crypto whole community and maybe it's the first time you've heard me speak, recommend signing up and making an account. You can use Hulk's link in the description. It's completely free to make an account and speak to a broker. So we always recommend at least giving the service a go and seeing if it's right for you. And if you're someone that had a question, because there was quite a few today that unfortunately we didn't get to, I put my email in the chat. I'm always available for anyone in this community to make sure they're well looked after. So if you've got a question, make sure that you put it in to an email to me, and I'll try and get to it as quickly as possible. I am going to be flying to the US pretty soon here, so it may be a little delay in my response, but I make sure to always get back to you. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me there if you'd like. But thanks for having me on, Hulk, and looking forward to it again.
Absolutely, Jim. Everybody else, I'll see y'all the next live stream.